Hey guys, Welsknight here, and welcome back to another episode of Kingdoms. And in today's episode, today is episode 50, and that means it is time for another world tour and another world download. So there is a download for the world in the description down below. It is Minecraft 1.10.2, totally vanilla. So yeah, there you have it. We are running shaders for this tour. For those of you who are wondering, the shaders are CUDA version 5.0.3. I run CUDA shaders. But we're down here in the Hall of Patrons, which we did some work on last episode, and I just kind of wanted to start here because it's kind of out of the way. So yeah, this is our Hall of Patrons, and I think it looks pretty good. I like it quite a lot. We built the giant W in the floor right here last episode and did this room. Still need to finish up the ceiling. But this whole thing is located, these are my mines, there's not really much to see here, they're pretty boring. But this whole thing is located underneath the outpost of Altum, which is where we started our world. So I'm gonna try and I'm gonna kind of keep this tour. I'm gonna kind of treat it as if all of you haven't watched the entire series, so there may be some kind of redundant information, just because I find that world tours are really kind of a good starting point for people. So if anyone is new to the series, welcome, hi, glad you're here. It's night, we should probably sleep. And then we'll take a look at Altum. I think I'm also going to run into the Nether and grab my horsey so that we can get around the world a little bit faster, because there's not really a whole lot to see around here, so, or at least in the Nether, I should say. But this is Altum. This is where we started. This was our starter tower. Do I have my good bow? I do not. That's okay. Ender chest. Good bow. Beautiful. Okay. So, I'm not a fan of creepers. Let's just do away with him. Okay, he's dead. Anyway, this was our starter tower. And then we built walls around the city. We've got a town hall here in the middle. Right down below, down here, this is our little storage room, and this is still kind of the main storage room for the world. And I think I may have to expand it actually relatively soon, because all the chests are full and we've still got items that don't have a place. They don't have a home. They don't have a place. So this is our little storage room. I think it looks pretty good. I should also mention I am running a custom texture pack in this series as well. You'll also find that linked in the description down below. And I think I will remember to put an updated texture pack. There's not really any major changes since the last version of it. It's basically just changing the color of the nether brick item. But it is a custom texture pack that I did make. So, and it is specifically for this series. So we've got some little houses over here. We've got the town hall. Oh, hi. Hi, skeleton. You kind of were hiding on me. We've got some areas in here and all sorts of stuff. We're going to have to kind of breeze through this tour, though, because there's a lot to see. So we're not going to spend a whole lot of time in any one given area looking at every little thing in detail. That's why there's a world download. If you want to come and look at stuff in more detail, you can come in here, download the world, and look at it up close and personal yourself. So, now, this is our nether wart farm. It is fully well, not mostly automatic. You still have to replant, because there's no way to automatically do that, but you press the button, you get nether wart. We're using that for a lot of stuff in the Nether, which we might as well head to right now, because I have to grab my horse there anyway. So, our Nether, we built a little bit of a Nether hub. That's been a project that we've been working on a lot over the last 25 episodes since the last world tour. This is kind of our main Nether hub right here. We've got a couple auto smelters pumping out nether brick, which is black in my texture pack. This little tunnel is obviously unfinished and goes to the Ice Plains Spikes biome. We've got some storage chests here, basically just for the materials I'm using to build this nether tunnel. This is our main nether tunnel right here, and it leads to a few very important locations. It's obviously not finished yet, as you can see. There's still a lot to do here. This kind of darker stone brick in my texture pack is granite. This is polished granite. And then the unpolished version basically looks kind of like a darker cobblestone. Likewise, diorite is a lighter cobblestone and a lighter stone brick. This leads to our ender, which or to our end and our ender, which I'm not actually going to take a look at in this episode, just because of time constraints. But basically, it's an Enderman farm. It's the Doc M Endermite design. It works amazingly well, and I love it. But really, I just want to kind of come here and grab my horse. That was really my big reason for coming here. So, this is our tunnel that leads to the end. This tunnel over here, if you can't guess by the color, this leads to our ocean monument, which I have not yet... I've cleared it out, but I haven't done all the sand and water draining and stuff like that yet. Eventually, I want to make a guardian farm down the road, but that's a really big project that's very time consuming and is not going to be something that we're going to be completing, in a day. That's a big project and a big undertaking. And then last but not least, way down at this end, our last little tunnel, this leads to our mesa, where we can get all sorts of stained clay. There's really not much to see in any of those biomes. I haven't really built anything there. They're really just kind of there for resource gathering purposes at this point. But eventually we'll do some things down there way down the road. I've got some plans, some long-term plans where we'll kind of explore and get into that a little bit more. Now, let's get out of here. I'm just gonna break these. Can my horse? Nope, we can't. Okay. I guess I gotta break these too. There we go. All right, let's repair this. Let me put this back together. Let me head into the overworld, and I'll be back with you in just a sec. All right, guys, I'm back. My horsey died. He got trapped in the wall and suffocated. Ah, man. Well, looks like I'm gonna have to get myself another horse, and I'm also gonna have to widen that nether portal. I don't know if it's due to a bug. I'm thinking it's due to a bug, but due to a bug, horses apparently are not able to go through a 2x3 portal. It's got to be at least 3x3. So I'm gonna have to redo this nether portal so that we can get around. But you know what? It is what it is. It's fine. It's whatever. That makes me sad though. I had to travel so far to find a horse, and now I'm gonna have to go get another one. Oh well. Anyway, if you go out the main gates of Altum, this is the outpost of Altum, and these people, the people that live here are kind of mercenaries for hire. They're not necessarily bad guys, but they're not really, they don't really have loyalty to anyone either. They just they're here, and they work for whoever pays them. Then we've got a nice little custom path that leads this way and heads towards our farming village, which is named Anona. And all of the names in this town have some sort of significance, all of the towns and villages in this world, the names of them have some sort of significance as to what they are and what they represent. So Altum, for example, is Latin for high because it's up on top of a mountain. So it's high as in, elevation. So it's up there on top of a mountain, hence the name Altum. Anona is, I believe, the Roman goddess of sustenance or something like that. I forget, but it's something to that effect. Over here, we've got a little bandit cave that we built relatively recently that I actually really like. This is one of my favorite smaller builds in the entire world. I love it. There's a lot of detail. We've got some cobblestone walls for stalactites and stalagmites, little storage chests for all the treasure and loot, and basically the bandits have their little cave here, and they prey on unsuspecting travelers as those travelers head from town to town. Now, the path over here, this leads to our skeleton spawner, which I absolutely love. I think this is one of my other favorite builds in this world. Probably this skeleton spawner and the bandit cave are probably my two personal favorites. They're all kind of beat up. They're all kind of, some people would even say overly detailed with the walls and how much little things are going on there. It's kind of a spammy style of building, but I really like it. I think I really enjoy that style, that kind of worn down and weathered, beaten look, and I think it really fits for the bandit cave and for the skeleton spawner as well. But the pathway leads into the village of Anona, which you can see kind of coming into view over here. There's another bridge. You may remember the path split kind of over there, and one bridge comes out right here, and then the other bridge comes out right over here. I think we'll cross this one. We'll cross over this bridge just because it's right here. And it's just a real simple little cobblestone, kind of semi-arched bridge. Just goes up and over, and it's simple and effective. Now, Anona is our farming village, as I've said, and it's all done in kind of this Tudor-esque medieval style, using bone blocks and oak, and then the oak planks for the roof, which kind of gives the illusion of thatch. You know, color-wise, it makes me think of thatch. So we've got a couple little simple houses here, you know, kind of where we crossed in. A lot of the interiors on these houses are not done, and may never be done, just because interiors aren't really what I find fun in Minecraft. I like building structures. I don't really like designing interiors, and part of that's that I'm not really good at it, to be honest. But most of the houses that we build in this world will probably just kind of be for show from the outside and will not end up with interiors. Some of them will have interiors, and you'll see a couple that do. In here, this is our barn, where we store pretty much all the goods that we get from our farming village. Up here, there's a little loft with some hay bales. There's a little crane back here for lifting hay bales up into the loft. There's a little access area up here that we haven't actually decided what we're going to use it for, but it's up here. And that's our barn. Over here, we've got a blacksmith, and we decided to use some of the magma blocks, which I think looks pretty cool. And then back here, we've got a little docks as well. In here is where the blacksmith lives. This is his house. And then out here is his shop where he sells all of his goods, you know, tools and some basic armor and stuff like that. Can I sleep? I think it's starting to get dark pretty soon, so we're going to want to take a little bit of a sleep here soon. Yeah, this looks like night to me. I'm just saying. And then over here, this was the first house that we built in Anona, and this is kind of where I've set up shop. This house, I think, is actually going to get an interior at some point, just because it's kind of the main house. And there's a lot of space to fill. Like, we've got this whole upstairs area here. We've got, in the attic, this whole area up here. I mean, there's a lot that we can do with this house. We have a lot of space to work with. And I think at some point I am going to give this house an interior. And I think for this one, I'm going to keep kind of an open floor plan, unlike some of the other interiors I've done. Now, over here, we've got some farms. We've got all the various crops, ranging from beets to carrots to potatoes to wheat. We've got this giant, huge wheat field that you can see. Let me just grab an ender pearl so you can kind of see the scale of this wheat field. That's a pretty big wheat field, and it's actually going to expand back even farther. It's still a work in progress just because I can only grow seeds so quickly. So I'll get there eventually. And then down here you can see we've got all of our animal farms. We've got cows, pigs, and sheep. And a little well here that we built just kind of for ambience, but also so there's an infinite water source in town as well, which is always useful when you're talking about a farming village. I hear an endermite. Hello, endermite. Go away, endermite. Yeah. Now, across the river, we have the beginnings of Soloulless, the City of Light. And this is going to be the first proper city in this world. This is a village. Oh, and there's a windmill here too. Hi, windmill. This is a village. Altum is an outpost. Soloulless is actually going to be a city. And we're going to have, I think, a bridge. I was thinking about it the other day, and I think I'm going to kind of fill up this cave here and then make a bridge that leads basically straight across right here and heads into the city. And we'll have, eventually the city will all be walled off, and we'll probably have a big kind of grand entranceway right here. But over here we've got some houses, and this is kind of a Gothic inspired style. I wouldn't call it truly a Gothic style, but it definitely has a lot of Gothic elements to it. And it's really kind of a fun style to build in, and it's very different than what I normally do. This is kind of our main house in here in Soloulless. And as you can see, it's actually got an interior. We've got an upstairs, a lot of just little simple things. I'm really not great at interiors, as I've said. But it's just, stuff to kind of fill the space. We have in the first floor right here. Back here is our main little bedroom where we got a bed, we got an ender chest, stuff like that for sleeping. In here we got a little kitchen, a couple ovens, potion brewing stand, some shelves, stuff like that. And then this is just another house, no interior on this, but just another house. And over here we've got another kind of smaller house. So this one, this was the first house that I built, right? Just to kind of get a feel for the style. And then we built this one, which we added a little like deck off the side here. And then we did kind of the same over here, making like a T-shaped house. And this one had big circular windows. And then over here, this is going to be one of the larger builds in Soloulless. It is far from completed, and I have to confess, I've been putting it off just because it's such a big project. This is going to be a cathedral, and this is going to be kind of the center of town, and it's going to be pretty big once it's all said and done. We've got, I'd say that it's not even halfway complete at this point, but you can see it's pretty tall. And the ceilings go up really high. We've also got this really big kind of central tower that reaches up. And the back here, I haven't even filled in the outer wall on the back of the cathedral here, but it's going to be rounded. So this is the cathedral, and there's going to be a lot of detail in this build once it's all done. It's going to be very big, it's going to be very grand, and it's going to be a lot of work, which is kind of why I've been putting it off, I have to admit. But yeah, this is the city of Soloulless, the city of light, and we're still kind of working out the lore for Soloulless. If it's going to be, I'm thinking that they're going to be they'll have some sort of a relationship with, Anona, where maybe Anona provides them food and Soloulless provides Anona with protection or something kind of to that effect, just because they're so close together. Some people have even said too close, but I think it's fine. In a world like this, I want all the cities to be relatively close together because I don't want them... I want you to be able to walk from city to city without having to go into the Nether. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that I want you to be able to walk within a minute, from the farthest city to the other. But I don't want you to have to walk really far before you find something interesting. I don't want you to just have to travel roads for 15 minutes before you run into something that's worth seeing. I want you to be able to, go a short distance and see something that's cool to check out, and then keep going and go another short distance and find something else that's cool, and so on and so forth. But that is basically the world at this point. I think last episode we had started Anona. We'd gotten some of this built, and I know we had not started... Actually, I want to say last time we did a world tour, when it was episode 25, I think we had just started Soloulless. I think we had just laid down the initial foundation of that first building or something like that. It was relatively new. I don't really remember. Either way, that is the world as it is progressing. There is a world download in the description if you want to download it and check it out for yourself. If you want to maybe finish my cathedral for me, that could be kind of cool. Finish my cathedral and send me pictures on Twitter so I can get ideas for how to make it look amazing. That would be awesome. But yeah, there you have it, guys. That is the world in its current state. So, my friends, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave me a comment. I do appreciate it, and it really helps out my channel. You can also find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. There are links in the video description below, so check that out as well. Otherwise, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll definitely see you next time.